All right, welcome to Friday Night Live. This is the Pep Man, Matt Morrow. Um, we got a lot to discuss tonight on the show. We just had another entertaining night of high school football, for sure. And we got the producer here with me. What's
Good
up?
evening. Good evening.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Another night in the books.
Awesome. All right, so you want to tell us about Garinger and East Met?
Sure. You know, um, Eastmeck jumped out up front ahead immediately. First half, 13-0. But got to give a good shout out to the guys that at Garinger. They didn't quit. They scored on a long 44-yard pass play. I believe it was number 24 from quarterback number 7, kind of a deep ball, made it 13-6. And they kept fighting. Got to give credit, these men, I believe, getting their first win of the season. But I believe the final was 31-14. You know, Garinger just couldn't quite. I mean, they kept it close. Kept it. Stayed in it, but couldn't just. You know, East Mac just kept pulling away. But definitely want to commend the guys again. They were behind most of the game, but didn't quit. No quit in them. Kept fighting. So they got to give some props out to that. But congrats to East Mac for getting the win. But I'm glad to see Garinger didn't have any quit in them. Fought hard, made some plays, and something to build on.
Absolutely. Garinger had that game at 19-14, in the fourth quarter, to your point.
Right.
And had a chance to possibly even take the lead. But we got to shout out East Meck. Great job. Congrats to Coach Lenny Sanders for his first career win as a head coach. Coach Sanders is a Queen City Senior Bowl coach as well. So been a pretty good week. Good week for Coach Sanders and the East Meck program. We got to commend them for that. Um, so we got Kyle Smith, our resident Mooresville and chat administrator, watching the show. Not the result we hoped for, but the Mooresville guys absolutely battled tonight. Played Hickory Ridge tough for a lot of the night. Just ran out of gas. Physical ball game down in Harrisburg. Yeah, yeah. I think that final was 45 to
19, I believe, or
45
somewhere in there.
19. Yeah, I mean, you got to commend the guys for taking on the challenge. We know Hickory Ridge is very strong and impressive in their own right. Um, so of course the big game tonight. Um, just had a little matchup in downtown Charlotte. That was Huff and Chambers, and Huff winning that game 16-10 in a defensive slugfest. We had our Justin Adams and we had the Queen there. I talked to both of them, after the game, and their sentiments were pretty much what the observations were on social media. Very physical game. Um, Chambers had some penalty issues. I think they had a penalty that took a touchdown off the board, if I remember correctly. Um, but it's pretty much what you would expect between these two guys, or two very good teams, or great teams, I should say. Um, we got interviews with JT Smith Jr. It's on our social media, and Huskies defense coordinator Chachi Sullivan. We should have another one up. If it's not up already, it'll be up soon. Where he talked to the Queen a little more extensively than he did with our Justin Adams. But then the main point of this is right now, as we saw last season, Huff has won the regular season matchup. Now, do these guys get to meet again in the playoffs? We certainly hope so. Because when you have two great teams like that, it brings out the greatness on both sides. And I think the big thing that we take from this is we saw it last year in the game with special teams. this year. Penalties and hard-nosed defense on both sides. It's the little things when you get two great teams together that make the biggest difference, and that's, what the case was tonight. So obviously, we put Huff at number one in the city right now. I still think Chambers is definitely number two. And you look around the rest of the city. I mean, is there anyone else that can challenge these two teams?
That's a great question.
So you guys watching, feel free to chime in on that. And that's going to be a thing we talk about, on next week's Football Focus Weekly. Can somebody else come in and be a part of the conversation? I don't know. I mean, these two teams look pretty even to me, just from, the things I've seen and, what people, I trust have told me. So, hate I couldn't be there, but, the Queen and Justin did a great job tonight, and I'm sure they've got some great stuff. Cherie got some video, and Justin got some pictures, so we'll get that stuff up this weekend, for everybody to check out and enjoy. And hopefully we get another matchup between these two great teams. Now, we do have to address the fact that all of us on the show picked Chambers to win.
Glad we can help Huff out.
Well, when the Queen posts her interview from the game with defense coordinator Chachi Sullivan, that is addressed, and I'm sure that will be.
We've grown accustomed to that. We've grown accustomed to getting addressed over these last couple of years, so we understand.
Yeah, we know there'll be some social media, maybe. I mean, to be honest with you, leading up to the game this week, both teams, I didn't see a lot, of stuff on social media. I mean, there was some stuff here and there, but for the most part, they, from what I saw now, maybe it was in other places, but
last couple of years they played much later in the season too. I guess that that might have played a role. We're coming down the stretch these last couple of years when they played. Still in the first half of the season, kind of right now. So.
Yeah, I would have liked to see this game, of course, later in the season, because both teams will have a chance to work through, all the things you work through in the early and mid parts of the season and really figure out who you are. But, if this RPI stuff works itself out, hopefully we'll see these guys in the 4A West championship game.
It's almost certain.
Well, there's some other good football around the state now.
Yeah.
And there's some other good teams, up in the Winston area and Greensboro area that's in the West, that, would have something to say about that. So we got a long way to go. And then the other thing, the other thing we got to remember is COVID-19 is still here. And, that thing is, can wreak havoc at any point. So, we got to, keep that stuff in mind. All right. So, Kyle says he picked Huff, which he did. He did send me his picks. So, yeah, we'll give you a 2-point bonus when we do that next week. I'm
starting to worry if I got any of my picks right.
Yeah, that's something we can we'll look at after this for sure. All right, so on the comments, we got some scores we want to address here. Lake Norman won a thriller over A.L. Brown, 14-13. Big win for Lake Norman. A lot of people thought that was going to be for second place in the Greater Metro 4, so they got a leg up there. And then West Cabarrus winning 10-6 over Cox Mill. Two big wins for those respective programs right there, so good job.
A couple of defensive battles there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I when I looked at Lake Norman and A.L. Brown, I didn't think it was going to be defensive in, nature, but I was leaning towards more offense just because, it's that, unfamiliarity with what Lake Norman does. And then A.L. Brown, I thought, had some things, on the offensive side they could take advantage of. But, shout out to both of those, well, actually all four of those teams, great efforts. When you get the conference play, this is what it's all about. really stepping up and making sure your best foot is forward, to win those games that could possibly put you into the playoffs. So, good stuff. Good stuff tonight on them. All right, Miss Perry from East Mex says B.J. Perry had 3 touchdowns and 2.5 sacks. Hey, so that's Brandon. That was number 44.
44. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
saw quite a bit of him. Trust me. Got real familiar with him. Yeah, that's a pretty well-rounded game right there. Can't really ask for more than that on the stat line.
Absolutely, that's good stuff. I'm happy for the kid. I've interviewed him before. Hardworking young man, and I'm glad to see that hard work, paying off in the victory in a big game, like that. So, good stuff. Hopefully, Brandon would have. I think he probably got some good pictures of him. We'll get those up as soon as possible.
Quite a bit, yep.
Awesome, good stuff. All right, illustrious Coach Billups, respect the East Mech. Enjoyed going against them. Also shouting out BJ. BJ did great. The progress, I saw tonight. I was watching the stream because I was injured. I saw a lot of progress. I saw a lot of progress in Garinger. They got 2 touchdown passes at that. And then defense played hard and got some stops. Got an interception. I thought Illustrious was going to pull his hamstring. I saw him running down the sideline. But that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I'm glad to see those kids having some success for the hard work that they've been putting in. All right. Coach Marsh up at Northwest Cabarrus over East Roran, 33-7. Big win for Northwest Cabarrus. They got that thing rolling, man. They got a couple wins in a row, and they're winning in conference play where it counts the most. So good stuff on that. Mount Pleasant, 56, Union Academy 0. Mount Pleasant getting back on track. Good win for those guys after a tough couple of weeks. Some good stuff on that for Mount Pleasant. Moss is saying 44 is a dog. Who does 44 play for?
East Meck, right? Perry?
I don't know.
Pretty sure that's what he means.
Let me know, Jermaine, who you talking about on that one, and we'll try to shout him out there. Kyle chime in. North Iredale beat St. Stephen's 15-6. All right, North Iredale 2 in a row up in Olin. See, when we shouted out Olin, now they've started getting it going, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff, North Iredale. Happy for you guys, man. That's a long time to not win a football game. It's almost 3 years.
It looks like, yeah.
Yeah, good gracious. Good stuff, man. Miss Hamilton coming in. Check out Christian Hamilton's 94-yard touchdown run back on a blocked field goal. Miss Hamilton, let me know where that video is, and I'll try to get it up here before we end the show tonight. We can show everybody that's watching here. Okay, so Mr. Moss talking about East Mac. Yeah, that is Bruce Perry. Good job. Yeah, I really enjoy watching him play for sure. Miss Isaiah, this is Josh Isaiah's mom. Charlotte Catholic 17-6 over Independence. Charlotte Catholic finding a way to get it done once again. For Independence, hanging in there tough. Couldn't, quite get the win. But obviously, that kind of score right there, they're showing some progress, from, game to game, getting better incrementally at a time. I believe they've got Gandra next week, so, it's good to see. It's good to see them making progress with Coach DJ in the fold and, making, some good things happen. All right, so I think that's all the scores we got. Let's go to the scoreboard, and then we'll come down and, kind of share what we got here. So we got South Meck 44, Berry 10. Big win for South Meck once again. Like, we saw them last week. This is their first conference win. I wouldn't say there's not much else to say. It's not a big surprise there in that score. Good job to the Sabres. I think that makes them 5-1 on the season. So good stuff. We got Butler get another shutout. A lot of donuts over at Butler. 20-0 over Providence. They got up early in that game, and then the defense kind of carried it on the way home. So good job to the Bulldogs in that one. Uh, let's see. All right, they got that store. Yeah, Mallard Creek defeated Hopewell 39-0. I watched some of that stream from Mallard Creek. They had some big plays on offense, both running and passing. Very impressive. Last 2 weeks, Mallard Creek, has been looking pretty good. When we talk about teams that may, pose a threat to either Chambers or Huff, maybe, Mallard Creek is somebody that we start to look at, in this conversation, because it seems like week to week they're starting to get a little better. And, we'll see how that, continues, on down the line here. This was a great game. Myers Park over Cardinal Gibbons, 16-13 in overtime. Wow, what a game. I was watching some of the stream, and Myers Park kicked a field goal in overtime to go up 3. Gibbons had the ball on the 5-yard line. They couldn't punch it in. Went for a short field goal, and they just missed it. I mean, not much longer than an extra point. And then, chaos ensued. As Myers Park went to celebrate. So, that's awesome stuff, man. That is really awesome stuff. Let's see what we got next on the scoreboard here. Big game over at Olympic. Weddington, kind of took the fun out the party, though. 28-0 win over Olympic on the road. We looked at that game as, kind of a measuring stick for the Trojans starting out 4-0. Now they're 4-1. They got to go back and, regroup and try to learn a little bit. But then this was a big game for Weddington, too. They were off after the big loss to RGK, where they gave up 38 points, which was uncharacteristic for a Weddington team. Obviously, they took those 2 weeks and they cleaned up some defensive issues. And, this is what we typically see from Weddington. They don't, score a whole ton of points, but, shutouts are the standard down in Union County for those guys. Very close game in the South Piedmont Conference. Concord over Central Cabarrus 22-20. Concord won this game on a safety.
Wow.
The last time I saw that was up at the state title game where Vance at the time lost to Wake Forest. Were you there with me, or did I go there by myself? It was at Duke.
No, Duke? No.
Okay.
No, I wasn't there. But I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, what a crazy ending that was. So, congrats to the Spiders. That's their second win in conference play. They're sitting on top of the South Piedmont at 2-0 right now. And that's how fast things can flip. They had that tough loss to the Cabarrus Warriors a couple weeks ago, and now they turned that negative into a positive. So, Big Shelby, our friend Webb, they won over Thomas Jefferson 55-7. So, no letdown in the Golden Lions. Big win for those guys. East Gaston got it rolling 2 in a row. They beat the Casino Cherokee, as you mentioned last week. And they beat up on Cherville. Make sure I say it right. 50-14.
Put that country twang in it when you say it.
So good stuff for East Gaston. Staying in Gaston County, Forest View over Ashbrook, 24-0. Big inner city win in Gastonia for Forest View, who's now 2-0 in conference. They got a big one. I think they got Kings Mountain next week. That's going to be a huge game. Country Day struggling. Go down to Rabun Gap, Georgia, and lose 47-0. Tough year for Coach Whitman and the Bucks. What a great game this was. Charlotte Latin over Charlotte Christian, 24-22. Charlotte Latin won this game on a walk-off field goal from 32 yards out. I mean, you don't get no better than that. Seeing the celebration. That's the thing I love, man. We're getting back to real high school football this year. The fans rushing the field, celebrating with the team and the coaches. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. And that is another big win that keeps Latin undefeated and gives them an inside track to the conference championship. And that's beating Charlotte Christian at home does not happen very often. That's a big win for Coach Harden and his program. Daniel Houghton had another big game. I got sent some stats. He had 8 catches for 82 yards and a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown, and I think 10 tackles on defense. So great job to the Hawks. Congratulations, guys. Good stuff, man. Hickory Grove, big win over South Wake, 48-12. Tad Balcom, head coach at Hickory Grove, Queen City Senior Bowl coach. They are undefeated on the season. Great job for Hickory Grove, getting it done, having a special year over off of where are they? Hickory Grove Road. There you go. It's awesome stuff. Rock Hill defeating Clover in a upper state South Carolina matchup 23-20. Our buddy Coach Gittens in Parkwood, Queen City Senior Bowl coach. Parkwood 50, Beaufort 21. Big win for those guys as they prepare for conference play. What else we got here? West Rowan moves to 2-0 in conference, 55-16 over South Rowan. They're tied on top of the SPC with the Concord Spiders, who we just talked about. South Point over Hunter Huss, 42-7. Kings Mountain over North Gaston, 56-0. Crest over Stuart Kramer, 35-16. That game was close for a while. Indian Land continuing to win. Big win over Andrew Jackson, 23-6. They're going to move up in the 4A poll in the upstate of South Carolina. Providence Day, tough loss on the road in Asheville to Christ School, 25-21. Christ School was 0-3 on the season. That's a tough loss, going up to Christ School. They're well coached, and they got some talent, so they were able to, get something to jumpstart their season up there. But, Providence Day, have to bounce back really strong next week. South Point, our buddies in Rock Hill, they lost at Spring Valley tonight, 14-7. A little bit of a surprise, but not a conference loss, so it's good to get that stuff out in the pre-conference before you start conference play. Northwestern over River Bluff, 35-21. They continue to roll. One of my favorite players, Turbo Richard, got in the box. Attended to CFI camp, does a great job. And we got to talk about this score right here. West Charlotte over West Meck, 62-13.
Pretty convincing win there.
Yeah. From what we seen with West Charlotte, they lost to Mallard Creek last week. And then they come in, and it was West Charlotte's homecoming over at Waddell. What a big statement win for, Coach Griner, and his team. Obviously they've got something going over there because their quarterback, Joshua Mahatha, threw 7 touchdown passes tonight. When was the last time we said that about West Charlotte?
Quite a while.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time back in the days of, David Green and Keith Matkins, who I told to go to North Carolina, but he went to South Carolina, and you see that was the wrong anyway.
So basically, his life may have been a lot different had he listened to you. I get it.
I doubt that. Joe Hughes coming in with a couple comments. Keep saying Forest View defense is legit. Yeah, I've been sharing it. I've been sharing that sentiment, man. They're creeping up to being that I think third team in Gastonia. We talk about Gaston County, we talk about South Point, we talk about Mountain Island. Maybe they're that third team now that's going to be solid, in the county, going forward. And then we got Rock Hill scoring the last 30 seconds to beat Clover. Wow, good job for Rock Hill. Got my buddy Jason Lehman, defense coordinator down there. Good job to get into the box for this season. I think that's their first win on the season. Let's see what else. We got any other scores here? Nope, that's all of our scores. So we got about 5 minutes left in the show. Joe was saying this because Spring Valley defeated South Point. So, apparently that's become the new catchphrase for the show. If anyone outside of Charlotte wins in anything. Producer, what are your general thoughts tonight, man? I thought we saw a lot of good stuff from these teams here.
Yeah, a lot of defensive battles. a lot of, a couple, I guess you maybe a few in there you would call consider an upset, and then the rest you just say teams, you know, won games they were supposed to win, and it was nice to see some teams, bounce back from losses. They didn't
Yeah.
stay down; they came right back. Like you say, you just mentioned where Charlotte lost, came back with a convincing win. Um, Nice to see, Hickory Ridge continue their trend. I keep saying them about them. I keep saying they're knocking on the door. I really feel like that. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like on the trajectory they're going, it won't be long before we're talking about them the way we talk about Chambers and Huff. Being one of those elite teams. They're right there. They're going exactly in the direction they need to be. But same thing with South Meck too. They're they're you mentioned about teams that'll say, okay, we got Huff, we got Chambers, who's going to contend. And I think in our area, in our coverage area, those are two
Mm-hmm.
teams you could say probably would maybe want to take you up on that argument. So they're continuing to win, continuing their upward trajectory. So they're definitely two teams you got to keep your eye on for sure.
Yeah, and I think Myers Park is a part of that conversation too.
Oh,
With the
for
big
sure.
win over Cardinal Gibbons tonight, only giving up 13 points to a good Cardinal Gibbons team. It shows some good defensive strength for them, which is we usually talk about their offense a lot, but that's a good showing. Good showing defensively for the Mustangs, and I have them number 3 in the poll, and I'm sure they'll stay there.
And that was good
Um,
for them to see. Like you say, their offense lately gets a lot of attention, but I believe
mhm.
they scored 16 total. So it's good for them to see, hey, we didn't light up the scoreboard. Our defense, came through it and carried us, helped us to the win. So that's good if you're on that team to say, hey, we don't have to, we can win without scoring, a lot of points. If we have to, our defense
Hmm.
will come through for us. So good to see that from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tim Pride chiming in, he's saying Myers Park and Butler are the two teams that could make a difference against Huff and Chambers if we get to that point in the playoffs. Butler, like I said, 2 consecutive shutouts. I think some people have forgotten about them because they've been playing, kind of out of the area a little bit, not playing in, so-called spotlight games right now. But they'll have that matchup coming up against Charlotte Catholic because they're in conference. So they'll have a chance, to kind of get a measuring stick for where they are against one of Charlotte's best teams traditionally. So a lot of good stuff tonight. A lot of good stuff. We'll get some highlights and pictures out this weekend, and come back next week and we'll see where everybody ends up in the polls and the rankings and last thought right here from Kyle Smith saying outside of Charlotte, but East Forsyth is looking like a real problem. Yeah, yeah, they're one of the teams I was referring to. They had a big win over Davie County, and Davie County had been rolling on offense, and East Forsyth just blasted them tonight. So, and we've seen East Forsyth before. They've been a traditional team that you know faces Charlotte in the playoffs and gives Charlotte teams some problems. So that's a team we got to keep an eye on from the 704 perspective. Jessica Fish, yes, we talked about Crest over Stuart Kramer 35-16. I think Joe Hughes had said Mari Adams for Crest had another big game rushing. That Crest, they're starting to get it going. Kind of had a slow start to the season because of the pandemic related issues, but I got them number 2 in the Cleveland County rankings that we do. And we'll be there October 8th because I feel like if I don't go, I think Webb's going to come kidnap me. So
Either you gonna go willingly or you gonna go unwillingly. But either way, you're going to Shelby on October 8th.
absolutely. And Dean, we talked about West Charlotte. We talked about West Charlotte. That was impressive tonight. Putting up those kind of numbers. That's good stuff, man. Joe, yep, East Forsyth is very real, very real.
West Charlotte number
So
one in your West Side poll right now.
you know, yeah. Oh, I didn't mention Harding. Harding had a 9-7 lead late in the second quarter. over Nation Ford in South Carolina, and then Nation Ford just all of a sudden went crazy. They came out in the locker room, and it was just. I think they scored the first 4 times they touched the ball. It was crazy. They ended up beating Harding 55-15. But the guys at Harding came out obviously with inspired effort with everything that's been going on this week.
Definitely.
But they'll have a chance to bounce back next week because I believe they have Barry and the Battle of Allegheny. There's nothing. Well, I won't say there's nothing, but it's one of the bigger rival games that you may not know about. But we'll talk about that next week on Football Focus Weekly. But thanks for everybody watching tonight. Thank you, producer, for coming on. We'll get that stuff out this weekend from Chambers and Huff. And we got pictures from East Mac and Garinger that producer took tonight. And everybody have a good, safe weekend. Enjoy college football. Enjoy the NFL. Panthers 3-0. No stress this Sunday. We'll try to keep it rolling against them nasty Dallas Cowboys.
Disgusting.
Good night, everybody.